Alright guys, so I'm making a video real quick talking about everybody's talking about buying this gold, buy silver, buy gold, buy silver, buy gold, buy silver. And they're talking about the Saudi Arabia problem going on in the United States. And I think a lot of people don't seem to quite understand something about buying gold and buying silver, buying gold, buying silver. Well, there's two things about this whole buy gold, buy silver. When you buy gold, you buy silver, you come across these two problems. One of the problem is when you buy gold, you basically can have it seized at any given time and it become illegalized by the United States government. Especially if they're going to take the United States dollar off the world reserve currency. Secondly is, what a lot of people don't realize when they talk about also buying Bitcoin. Well, there's a problem with buying Bitcoin. If they were to do an EMP attack in America at any given time, your Bitcoin can be totally useless and worthless at any given time. I mean, if people don't have electricity, they don't have power, they're not going to be able to process your Bitcoin to be able to reuse your Bitcoin. I mean, you're talking about, if China were to send an EMP attack over here to America at any given time, I mean, sure, we're talking about Bitcoin being a world currency, yes, but you've got to be able to access that Bitcoin, and there's a lot of problems with that. If the power goes out, there's no, we don't know what's going to happen, and especially for a country that'd be falling down like we are, in our grid, in our power grid and everything. Power can go out for a week at a time. It's happened many places. I mean, look at the people in California who was actually powering their Teslas with power generators. And the United States also doesn't make our transformers anymore. We get them shipped in here, I think, from China or someplace like that. So at any given time, if the power grid goes out, there goes your dollar. You can hold the physical dollar, which is going to be basically like the old currency years ago. What do they call that? Confederate dollar. It's going to be like the Confederate dollar. So your money's not going to be worth anything. So what's going to be worth something? Your guns, your money, your guns, your food, your seeds, your plants, the stuff you got, the animals, the livestock, your bees for honey, stuff like that. That's going to be worth the value. That's the money. That's where it's at right there. Your milk and goats. That's where it's really going to be at, because once this all falls down, you're talking about no longer having the rule of law anymore. You're going to have the rule of man. And they always say that you're 9 meals away, 3 days away from the state of anarchy, and that's true. Now let me ask you a question. We don't really make our own food here as much. We don't do this, we don't do that. We don't supply things. We're based everything on a 3-day supply chain. And if everything falls apart within 3 days, within 3 days, 72 hours, everything's going to start falling apart. Then you're going to have the role of anarchy. And the United States government will not be able to contain all these people that's got all these guns and everything else. They won't be able to contain them. These people will fall apart. And there's no country around the world going to deliver to the United States whenever all this stuff happens, because our dollar is going to be worth total dog shit, pardon French. China makes our medication. India makes our medication. We don't make our own medication in the United States anymore. So once all this starts to fall apart and the whole cookie starts to crumble, we're all going to be in big trouble. So the only thing you're going to have that's going to be worth anything to you at all is the actual stuff that you own at that time: your clothes, your shoes, your food, your gas, any kind of gas you got stored up in the tool shed. That's what it's going to be at. It's not going to, this gold and stuff like that, sure, that might be good after things get reestablished in America, but you're talking about America going complete to the state of Somalia. We're going to go to a state of anarchy once that finally does happen. And it's going to be about the people who has the brass, and it's going to be about the people who has the food and the brass. But in other words, guns, bullets, and medical supplies. Because the bottom line is, once the dollar collapses, we're not going to be getting our stuff from these different countries anymore like that. It's going to be slowing down, and you're not going to get that stuff because nobody's going to deliver that stuff to a country when they're not sure they're going to get paid. They're not going to give that stuff away to you free. The United States is also, you got to think, our police force will break down too, because what policeman's going to get up and go out here and be a police officer and do this and that when they're not going to get paid next week? Most of the police force is not there for that reason. They're not there to be a police officer for the right reasons. They're there to get paid. And once that breaks down, you no longer have the police officers. Once you no longer have the police officers, once you no longer have your military who's going to say every man for himself, we're screwed. And then the United States is going to be totally falling apart. And then there's only one thing you can do, and our government system will collapse. And once all this finally does start to happen, you're talking about really all this stuff, buy gold, buy silver, stuff like this and that. Don't worry about that crap. Buy food, buy guns, buy bullets, buy ammo, buy medical supplies, anything that you could possibly get your hands on, canned goods, dried beans, dried rice, powdered milk, stuff like that. Get all this stuff that you need. Honey, you get honey. It's got a forever shelf life. It literally does. They've actually pulled it out of the bottom of pyramids in Egypt, and it has survived the test of time, and it was still edible, even though it's crystallized. So get real honey, stuff like that. It will last. It's a good thing. Get oil for your car, store some gasoline in your sheds, stuff like that. All right, and then if you got all this and that stuff, get boards for your house, get some shingles for your home, get some siding for your home, buy some vinyl flooring and put it in the tool shed, stuff like that, or in a storage building someplace. Have it, and then once you have it, you got it. Then if everything falls to hell, you know where it's at, and you got to go get it. You got something for your home. That's what you need to be doing, is getting stuff. Because the bottom line is all this crap, gold, Bitcoin, and stuff like that. It's not that I hate those people. I don't hate them. It's just from a practical standpoint, what's really going to be the real gold is basically the can of food I have and the can of food I had in the cover, and the bullet I got in my gun. That's going to be the real gold. Okay? Be good. Get at it. Take it easy, fellas.